everybody? Maybe. Oh, come on. There. Like, I check everything before the stream starts, and what happens as soon as the stream starts? Something doesn't work. Hope y'all are doing well. It's Wednesday night. It's good to be here with you all. It's good to be back in Alaska. I was gone for a few days filming for a television show down by Tulsa, Oklahoma. Flying bigger drones than normal and some Inspire stuff and some other stuff like that. It was a lot of fun. It was also really warm. I didn't die, but it was close. And I'm back. And it's nice to be back. So, hope y'all are doing well. And yeah, if this is your first time on the stream, this is all basically all question and answer. Like, you have a question about drones, cameras, lenses, sound stuff, anything like that to do with video or photo stuff, then ask in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. If I don't answer them though, there's some other really awesome people in the chat that will probably answer as well. So we'll talk a little bit about drones because of course we've been working with the Air 2S, the Mavic 2, or the Mini 2. And then if you follow me on Instagram, you'll notice I posted a picture of this, which is the red Komodo here. And I am specially building a drone for it, which is this guy right here. So, in case you're wondering, here's the Mini 2, and then this guy, which is a basically monstrous FPV drone that this red camera will sit in and hopefully get some really cool footage. And also be ready for a shoot I have coming up later this year. So, yeah. Ask in the chat. It's good to see you all. I'm going to say hi to people in the chat. I know I saw a few people like Alaska VFX Filmer. Good to see you. Aerial Effects. Nice. Welcome. Chiefs. Okay. Good to see you. Eddie Nunez. Hey, man. Hope it's doing well. Andre. Good. Richard Black. Nice to see you, too. And then I know, let's see, Richmond Aerials. Nice to see you. Welcome. Tom Buck. Dude, you made it. It's funny. I was just looking at our conversation or something. Anyway, I found notes from the time that you and I were talking about doing a collaboration, like last year sometime. And I was like, oh yeah. Anyway, be fun to do something together still. I know you're probably super busy. I'm pretty busy. It seems that we both found ourselves sort of in the full-time YouTuber gig. I'm not quite there yet, but I'm getting close. Anyway, I hope you're doing well, man. Mark H, hello, welcome. Desert Drone Pilot, hey, good to see ya. Let's see, Sunrise Water Media, nice to see you. Lon Dennard, how you doing, man? Jeff Edok Photography, good evening. Bob, that's the coolest screen name I think I've ever seen. It's just Bob, that's it. Welcome. And Bretner, nice to get. I'm glad you all are here. So we're going to talk about all kinds of fun stuff, I'm sure, as the evening goes on. But in the meantime, please do ask questions if you've got questions. I did finally get caught up on all the comments on the channel. There was a couple hundred from the last few days that I was traveling and filming for the TV show. So it took me a bit, but I did get all caught up. And yeah, anyway, good to be back. Good to be back. Hope you all are doing well. Bob, you always find it funny when people from Alaska think 70 degrees is hot and people from Hawaii think it's cold. Yeah, no joke. So I was down in Tulsa, well, near Tulsa, Oklahoma. I was in Oklahoma filming for this show, and I mean, it was warm. It was in the mid 80s and a little bit humid, which Alaskans are not used to. So it was definitely an interesting, fun time. Especially because it was really windy, like 30 to 40, maybe 45, 50 gusting 45 to 50, and 30 pretty consistent. And I was flying an Inspire 2 and some other stuff to get footage for this thing. It was fun. I'll say that. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, actually it was a blast. Had a lot of fun working with the crew I was working with, and hopefully get to do it again sometime. Oh, let's see. The terrain there is so much different than Alaska. Desert Drone Pilot? I would think so. And weather? Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Caleb Gall. Mark Cundiff, welcome. Let's see. I think I missed. Thanks, Eddie. I'm back. Yes. Let's see. Somebody asked how Alaska was today. It's great. It's like 55, sunny. The snow is melting rapidly. It's going to take a while. If you watch the Air 2S, the review video I did of the Air 2S, one of those locations was out of Whittier, Alaska. A few mile hike out, which in this case was a few mile snowshoe, because I will show you this photo here as soon as I can find it. Because this is how much snow is there, or was there a week ago when I filmed this. And let's see. Wait for it. There. Okay. You see my friend standing in the upper left-hand side, kind of in the middle. And then you see 8 feet of snow underneath him. And then a little pond or pool or puddle that had formed. That's how much snow is there. It's going to take a while to melt all of that snow, because there's a lot of snow there. And yeah. Hugo, do the Air 2 batteries fit the Air 2S? Yes. In fact, you can use the same propellers, the same batteries, most of the same cases, although there are a couple of cases that are such tight fit that you have to shave off just a little bit around the back, because this back is a little tiny bit different. And of course the front with the gimbal is a little different. And then, yeah, and you can bind the Air 2S to the smart controller if you want to use the smart controller. I've used it. It works well. It's not quite, it doesn't feel quite as good and quite as smooth as the controller that comes with the Air 2S, but it definitely works, and it is nice to have that really bright screen. So let's see. Oscar, Indonesia. Hey, welcome, Oscar. Hope you're doing well. Let's see. Hey, Ben Lockwood, welcome. Desert Drone Pilot. Am I going to make a video about bush planes in Alaska? Not specifically necessarily, but I do a lot, especially now that summer's hit. The plane that you saw in the video, I do a lot with Keith, and that's his plane, and so we do a lot of stuff in that plane together. So you will see that airplane in frequently in videos. There's also a few trips that I possibly be doing with some helicopter people. So if that happens, you'll see that or stuff about with that anyway. And then apparently at some point I'm going to be doing some air-to-air work, not with a drone, but like airplane to airplane, with a company that does like fly-out trips and stuff. And they wanted me. We've been talking about doing some air-to-air work with them to put together a promo video for them. So yeah, that'll be bush planes because they do lots of off airport landings and stuff like that. So you're welcome, Hugo. Yeah, absolutely. Works the same, which is kind of nice. Alaska VFX. What do I think about the Hubsan Xeno Mini? I have no idea. I just saw that ad for that or something for it, and I was like, oh, that looks interesting. We'll have to see. So yeah, we'll have to see. Let's see. I think I got everything else. Sunrise, Mark H. You're enjoying your Mini 1? Awesome, Sunrise. You got a Mini 1. That's awesome. You know what? I mean, okay, like, let's be honest. The image quality on this, the Air 2S, is far superior to the image quality on this. But I still really like this drone. It is so easy to get in and out of places with this thing and fly around. It just, yeah, it's really an impressive drone. And I mean, like, if you look at this, and the size difference isn't huge, right? It's not like a massive size difference. But the difference comes when you start adding other things, like 3 batteries for this or 3 batteries for this. And in a video that will be coming tomorrow, the comparison between this and the Mavic 2 Pro, I don't have it down here, but there's not a huge size difference between this and the Mavic 2 Pro. And it's a little over half the weight, but it's pretty close to half the weight. But the difference comes when you start adding extra batteries. That all of a sudden takes up a lot more space. So, yeah. Okay, let's see. Can't wait for some greenery. Yeah, you and me both, Ben. Let's see. We're not quite butting out. We're probably a little bit behind you, but we're getting close. JD3, hello from BC. Hi, hope you're doing well. Just landed on my Mindshift backlight review minutes ago. Oh, cool. Awesome. JD3, I now own 3 different sizes of that backpack. They sent me one. I bought the smallest one, and then I bought the middle one. And that has been all I have been using ever since. I really like their backpacks. So, yeah. It's I don't know if there's such a thing as a perfect all-around camera backpack. There's a reason I own 3. One, the smallest one, I can put a decent amount of stuff in, and it will fit inside of the compartments in my kayak, which is a big plus. The middle one is like my go-to for almost everything because it's just a nice size. And if you want to see it in action, you look at my review of the Mavic Mini 2. That's the backpack. For some reason, that video I got tons of questions about what backpack it was, but it shows off in the video about the Mini 2. And then the larger one that I show in that video, I use a lot when I travel. Like I just got back from Oklahoma doing some filming down there. So I use that then because I can fit a lot of stuff in there, but it still fits in carry-ons. Even in smaller commuter jets, it fits in the carry-ons of those, provided you don't have a lot of stuff on the front side. So, hey, Bob Casey Ariel, welcome. Worth it or not? Hi. And another Bob. What would I recommend for a beginner FPV? So I like the DJI FPV system is okay. It's a good way to start out and kind of jump from flying DJI drones into more FPV kind of drones. But if you really want to get into it, you're going to need to learn to build and repair them yourself. You're going to want to learn to fly them the whole bit. So either the DJI FPV system, but if you don't want to spend that much money and you're not sure if you really want to do it, like you don't know if you'll enjoy it or not, then get the Beta FPV Meteor 65 kit. It's about $200, comes with a controller, comes with goggles. They're cheap, but they work, and a little drone. And you can fly it inside, you can fly it outside, and it's a blast. But it will teach you everything you need to know about flying FPV without a huge investment and a huge amount of risk, because you can crash it quite a bit. Nice, Alaska VFX. That's awesome. Where we go? They make autopilot. I was mentioning before ArduPilot and a large drone build. Yeah, David Quesada. Sorry. Really sorry about that. Yeah, ArduPilot. This I'll be putting Betaflight on it because of the type of flying I need to do with it. But this actually started out with iNav, and then I switched it over to Betaflight. But I think one of these days I'm going to try an iNav build just because, and maybe an ArduPilot build just because I'd like to try it, see what happens. Mark H, awesome. Thank you. I'm glad to hear it. I feel like I was really late on a review of this. And I mean, I kind of was. I didn't get it early like some people, but whatever. The Air 2S is perfect. I do want to say this though. If you already own the Air or if you own the Mavic 2 Pro, this is not really necessary because it kind of fits. I mean, it kind of fits between both of them, but it doesn't really. I mean, it does replace one or the other, but it's not like it's, especially going from the Air to this, the upgrades are not substantial enough to really make it worth it if you already own the Air. Now, if you're deciding between the two and you've got the budget, absolutely go for this. It's fantastic. But if you're kind of like on the fence and you want to sell your Air 2 or keep it, I would keep it and wait for the Mavic 3 if you're looking to upgrade, or whatever the Mavic 3 is going to be. I think it'll be pretty good. But the Air 2S is fantastic. The image quality out of it is excellent. It's similar to the Mavic 2 Pro, like cleanness. It's sharper, definitely more detailed and stuff. Not surprising at 5.4K. The difference is the Mavic 2 Pro has that Hasselblad name. The difference on that, though, is maybe the optics, but most of it is the color science that's in that drone. The color science is different than the color science in this. And you'll notice, especially in the sunset shots, with the Mavic 2 Pro. When I compare that and this, you'll see the differences in the colors in the video that's coming tomorrow. Through your legs, Sunrise? Oh, you're brave. I don't know. I mean, I guess I probably would. But yeah, I'll fly this through tiny little gaps and just rip it. I mean, if you saw my review of this, comparing the Air 1, that's what I did. I just went and ripped this thing through a bunch of little spaces, and it's cool. It's awesome that way. Like, it's great. And the camera's not that bad. Like, it really isn't. It just, you know. All right. Let's see. 10-bit. I missed. Holy cow. I missed a lot. Mini 2, brilliant first timer. Channel 30. Oh, thank you, Marianne. I appreciate that. Yeah, and if you're ever wondering, like, what do I recommend? I'm not saying go out and buy this because it's the latest and greatest. If you want a first-time drone that you're going to purchase, I still think the Mini 2 is probably the best first-time drone anybody could buy. It's stable, easy to fly, gets good pictures, good footage, and it's inexpensive. And it doesn't break that easily when you crash it, interestingly enough. Thanks, Sam. Mini 3, consider upgrading. Yeah, that's a good idea. Wait for the Mini 3. Brad, compared to the Evo 2 Pro and the Skydio, which one would I recommend? Okay, David Casada. So the Evo 2 Pro is a good drone. They have a few issues with it. They probably could fix with firmware. Some of it's the way the horizon is handled. And then personally for me, I don't care for the color that the Evo puts out. Now I haven't flown it personally. I'm working on it, but I haven't. So I can't comment a lot on that. For me though, this would win out just because it's smaller and lighter and easier to take with me with a couple batteries and stuff than the Evo 2 Pro is. Much larger than this. So there's that consideration. Now, between this and the Skydio is altogether a completely different drone. And who it's aimed at and what it does is very different from this. The Skydio is built for you to film yourself doing stuff with. And that's what it's made for. It's not made for more traditional drone work. So, so long as you know that, depending on what if your use case is, I want to film myself a bunch, and I don't really care about doing anything else, then the Skydio is the best. By far, it is. If you want to do some filming yourself and some more traditional drone work, this. And you need lightweight. So, yeah. Hugo, when you were studying for your Part 107 test, you passed. Congratulations. By the way, I passed my recurrency test today, and I also passed the night flying and the flying over people parts that they have now. And so apparently now I can still legally fly Part 107, and I can fly at night, and I can fly over people, staying within the Part 107 rules for those things, which essentially right now is basically this is it. This is the only drone that can fly over people right now because it's under 259 grams. Oh, interesting. Anyway, there were questions and sections about weather and frost on propellers. Have you had any issues flying in the cold with frosting? Hugo, I have not. And a lot of that is because of a couple reasons. One, most frost happens when you move from a cold climate. Let's see. When you move something that's warm out to a cold section, a cold area. So if this was sitting in the house and I ran out, it was really cold, moisture, frost would form on this from any of the moisture that was in this thing from when it was inside and warm. So the problem is anywhere I go, by the time I get there, this is pretty much already at ambient air temperature. So it's not so much of an issue. Now, the other side is when you go from cold back to warm, then everything condenses on this. So you do want to be careful with that. Let this thing warm up, or any equipment warm up slowly and keep the moisture off of it by using a Ziploc. I've got a whole video about that. Just because it's, obviously you don't want a lot of moisture in electronics. But I don't have any issues with frost generally, just because usually the frost that we get is called hoarfrost. And that's only when it's just really, really cold, well below zero. Yeah. And so I will fly around that stuff, no problem. I don't, when it's really cold like that, if there's fog, like coming off of water, steam coming off water, you stay out of the steam because that will come up. You'll fly through it. It'll freeze onto the drone, and then the drone will eventually drop out of the sky. So, but yeah. What features, Matt? What features do I expect on the Mini 3? Maybe longer flight. I don't know, man. Maybe longer flight time. Maybe a better sensor. Like maybe they'll figure out a way to put the 1/2-inch sensor in here from the Air 2S. But honestly, I think like the best thing they could do to improve this is put some forward obstacle avoidance and then a really basic tracking feature, like that follow you mode or something like that. That'd be amazing if they could do that. And maybe a little bit more power or something. But yeah. By the way, I flew this in 30 mile an hour, 35 mile an hour winds, and they actually even up to 40 miles an hour with the gusts, and it handled it like a champ, like held its position and everything. It was mind-blowing how much wind this thing was flying in and was still stable and steady. Yeah, really interesting. Nighttime and low light is way better on the Mavic 2 Pro as well, Lon. See, interesting. In my tests, like doing like ISO 400 and ISO 400, 800 between this and the Mavic 2 Pro came out really similar, like basically indistinguishable. In 4K, I didn't mess with the, like 4K 60. I didn't mess with 5.4K. That would change the noise profiles a little bit, but yeah, I thought they were really similar, to be honest. There's a few more tests I need to do, though, and I don't really have any low light left in Alaska because it's almost summer. We don't have any dark, really. But that was like testing the really high ISOs. I didn't go over ISO 800 because I didn't wait up long enough to try ISO 800 or higher than ISO 800. So anyway, Eddie, did I see the new iFlight X8 Cine Lifter? I did. I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm kind of stuck up about that stuff now. Looks interesting. It's expensive. Expensive. I'll say that. Like it's kind of a clone. It's not a clone, but it's kind of a clone of this. Like it's very similar to this, the way it's set up and laid out. This is my drone for flying the Blackmagic. It's big, bulky. This one is really built specifically for box cameras. That's why it has these really weird curved arms. So then the box camera sits down and the center of gravity is really low. Whereas this, between the battery down here and the Blackmagic on top, the center of gravity is like pretty much fine. It's still kind of low because they counter each other. Thanks, Matt Happy. Can I make a video on how to plan trips and encounter wildlife? Yes. So Matt Happy, I am working on that. I am working on like a whole video behind the scenes on how I go out and do my videos. Partly because I get a lot of people that comment on the videos that are like, oh, you forgot this, you forgot that, you didn't talk about this, you didn't talk about that. And I'm like, yes, I know. I'm sorry. After hiking 18 miles, or in the case of like the Air 2S review, literally walking a mile, picking a path through crevasses that would have been deadly if we'd have fallen. We had safety equipment and stuff, but still, it takes a lot of concentration to do that stuff safely. And so, it's like, yeah, after I get out there, and then I'm standing on a chunk of ice that is 3 feet wide that I can walk on and set my camera up, and I'm filming, that like literally if I step more than 3 feet to one way or the other, I'm going to fall 250 feet down, and well, it wouldn't be pretty. So yeah, sometimes I do mess up specs. And then the other thing is like, I'm very much focused on doing like real world testing in the moment. So a lot of times, like, I go out and do these things, and then I'm basing some of my judgments off what I see in the screen of whatever I'm using, or like I might go out and shoot a few things around the house before I go on a trip to get an idea of a few things before I go out and really test it. And so a lot of that is like you're seeing a lot of my really firsthand experiences with these things in the real world. And so that's a big focus of mine. And yeah, so that's what I'm doing. I'm putting together a video that's like from the beginning, planning a trip, looking for the weather, all of the behind the scenes. Like you're going to go with me on what it takes to go do a video as me. So, and then if any of you ever come up here and say, yeah, I want to go do video together, none of you will have an excuse for any sort of complaining or whining on the trip. They're not easy. I push myself physically pretty hard. Okay, I really got to get caught up on the chat here. JD, the backlight. Oh yeah, 6'10". Oh wow, dude, you're 6 inches taller than me. Man, that's awesome. So you'd have no issue with the big backlight. That is one thing with the big one that I reviewed. A few people, I'm like if you're less than 6 foot, it's huge on you. But if you're 6'10", piece of cake, no problem. But I do like their stuff. It's really comfortable to wear for long hikes and long periods. Yeah, really nice. Thank you, Sunrise. Yeah, Vaughn, it's very it's interesting because also like in the category 1, which is what this fits into, they don't talk about requiring prop guards. That's only category 2 and 3. And so because I just did it all today, so I'm still trying to process. I need to go back and look at it again a little bit and make sure I understand it completely. But yeah. So and then it also depends on what kind of flying over people you can do, and where you can do it. Like so, it's interesting. I'll say that. Yeah. Like you can't take this out and then just sit and hover over a crowd of people for the whole flight time and stuff. It's weird. So I need to go back and read it again a few times to really make sure I understand it. But I passed. Yay! And I'm mostly excited about being able to fly at night in 4 months when we have night again. So actually what I'm hoping is they'll release the Mavic 3, whatever that's going to be, and I'll be able to go out and film some Northern Lights and some star stuff with it or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, Lon, that's the thing. The Hyperlight stuff on the Mavic 2 Pro is really good. Whatever they're doing, whatever sort of magicianry stuff they're doing behind the scenes is really good. It does a really good job. This doesn't do the same thing in low light with the Hyperlight stuff. It just doesn't. And at least not yet. Maybe they'll add it. I don't know. But I don't think they will. I think they're going to reserve some stuff for their Pro line. Let's see. Mini 2, a GoPro, and a Canon DSLR. Would I recommend a camera bag, Ben? So like for a backpack thing, I really like the Think Tank backlight series. And my go-to is the 26L. So that's like the in-between size. It fits a decent amount of stuff. The Mini 2 fits really conveniently perfectly with its batteries and the controller in the sides, in one of the sides where it's kind of narrow, and everything else fits in there too. So that's what I would recommend. The backlight 26L is really good. Let's see. Mini 2 does have a follow me mode and FPV mode if you use the Litchi app. So David Kusada, did Litchi update there for the Mini 2? Because I know they had it for the Mini 1, but I wasn't aware that they've made it possible for the Mini 2 yet. Alaska VFX. Yeah, and pigs will fly too. That'll be interesting to see that. I think one day we'll get there, but I don't think it'll be then. The Xeno Mini, yeah. That sounds more like the V-copter, the Flycopter V-copter thing, the two thing they previewed like 2 years ago, and nobody has seen it since. Peter, hi, long time no see. What is the weight of this here with the batteries? I need to get 2 batteries. This is a kg. This, if I remember right, is half a kg, so that's 1.5 kg, and then the batteries together about another half kg, so 2 kg. And now it's a little less than 2 kg. It's what would it be? 1, 2, 3. And it's 3.5 pounds is where this ends up with 2 batteries and this lens, which is bigger and heavier. Normally, when I fly it on my FPV drones, I'm using this lens, which is a Laowa 9mm cine lens, and then this is the Laowa 12mm cine lens. So This is obviously quite a bit smaller and quite a bit lighter. This one is quite a bit larger, quite a bit heavier. Both have nice image performance though. Zach, is it worth getting over the Mavic Air 2 or the Air 2? Debatable. For image quality, yes, absolutely. But that's really about it. So I don't think it's worth it to like cross grade. If you already own the Air 2, just stick with it. Sunrise. Thanks. I don't know if I really, I mean, I guess I do risk my life. Wow. I am sorry if I've missed your comment, please comment, or question, please comment again. I finally have caught up to the chat, so I just sort of skipped ahead. Matt, 1 inch, yeah. Bye, Marianne. Thanks for being here. Let's see. Jake, check out Greg's video from Pilot Institute. He goes into great detail. Okay, Bob, I will. Yeah, I will. I mean, I'll admit, like, running through all the FAA material on the FAA testing site, they're super clear, not, about what they require. Yeah, so. Anyway, order drone before taking or after taking the FAA test. Matt? You can order it now and just fly it recreationally. Like, get used to flying it and do all your things. Just fly it as a hobby. Don't do any, photos with it for real estate agents or anything. I mean, you can even post it on your Instagram and stuff like that. It's fine. And then work on getting your test. Get that done. I recommend everybody, like, get your Part 107 if you live in the U.S. Just get it. It makes you a better pilot. It opens up opportunities for you. Yeah, so Peter, those crevasse shots scared the crap out of you. It was epic, man. So we hiked a mile out there, and Lon, by the way, thank you for helping me with the hyperlapse feature. It literally was, I forgot to scroll down, like, and you pointed that out in live stream last week, I think. Anyway, but after hiking a mile out on these crevasses on the glacier, and then turning around, filming some stuff, and then hiking a mile back, my brain was so fried because obviously, like, while we're hiking, I'm not doing anything else unless it's a safe area. Like, I'm 100% concentrated on not falling or making one wrong step, because that's all it takes. So yeah, but it makes for some epic footage, which is awesome. Being able to see the screen on iPhone SE version 2 and transition lenses on the glasses. Oh, Lynn, that might be an issue. Get see if you can get a hood, a sunshade hood for your phone. That'll help. They're probably dirt cheap on Amazon. If I have, let's see, Bruzo Films, if I have an A7S III and I need to choose between A7 III, A7C, or A6600, what would be my choice? The A7C, for sure. The reason being is the A7S III and the A7C colors match really well if you use the standard color profiles. The A7C is a good, decent photography camera. It's basically the same as the A7 III without a lot of the custom functions, but you can certainly get around that. But yeah, I would do that, especially for shooting video content, long-form video content, because neither the A7S III or the A7C have a timer on them that stops at 30 minutes. So yeah, that's absolutely what I would do. I would get the A7C. Or wait a month or two and see if Sony drops the A7 IV, because it's coming. But I would definitely the A7C for B camera. It's a great B camera for the A7S III. If I wasn't waiting on the A7 IV, I would get the A7C. Or I would have gotten the A7C. Instead, I got this guy, which is the ZV-1. Because I mean, it works good for an overhead camera like this. And I should grab my batteries. Anyway, yeah. So, and then this ZV-1 will be like my overhead camera and C camera once I get an A7 IV. whatever that's going to be. Hello. Let's see. Good. I agree, Mark H. Part 107 is good. And in the future, it's only going to keep opening up more opportunities for you. Like, flying over people, night flights. So they do give a lot of like what you need to do to fly larger drones over people and what your restrictions are and stuff like that. But right now it's all defined as like, 11 foot-pounds of force or 25 foot-pounds of force. We've yet to see a drone manufacturer go out and certify, this drone only hits somebody at 11 foot-pounds of force. Like, I'm sure they will soon, but they just haven't yet. So, yeah. Hey, Luca T-Jack. Yeah, nice. Matt at a war, test schedule Friday, Remote Pilot 101 course. Awesome. Yeah, that's what I use. So today I went through the recurrent test from Remote Pilot 101, and then I jumped on the FAA testing site and went through their material, and then took the test, and I got 100%. Also, I heard that if you don't get 100%, you basically go back and correct the questions that you got wrong until you get 100%. But I'm not sure what happens like if you fail, get a failing, if you don't get over 50% or whatever, 80, 75%, then if you like have to wait a time to go or you have to go back through, I don't know how that works, but yeah. Logan, you love your A7 III right now, shooting a hunting film this weekend. Awesome, Logan. That sounds like fun. That sounds really cool. All right, see you, Sunrise. Thank you very much for being here. Cheers, friend. Dan Beck, what glacier was that? That was Kinnick Glacier. So actually not too far from here. A lot of people go out there. And in fact, a lot of helicopter tours. That's a place where tons of helicopter tours go out there. In fact, I have a friend that is a helicopter pilot, and he does tours out there. And I posted my Instagram story about it, which was like the pullback shot of me and Keith laying on the glacier, and his response was no way, nope. And then he's basically like, I'll fly out there and land somewhere out there, but I'm not hiking out there. Which, yeah, I get. If I had a helicopter, I'd probably fly a lot of places that I hike right now. Except for some of the places I hike, you can't land without special permits and stuff. Hey, welcome from the Philippines. Nice. Hope you're doing well. Jeff, let's see. You got your Part 107 on Saturday? Congratulations. Awesome. Yeah, they do ask a handful of questions on night flying and flying over people. So you do want to make sure you know and understand those things at least enough to get those right. Interestingly, on the recurrent test, there really wasn't anything, at least on mine, there wasn't anything about airspace. Check that. There was a couple questions about airspace, but nothing like, on this chart at such and such location between this latitude, longitude, what is your max altitude over said object or something like that. It was just more like, what do you have to do to be able to fly in Class E airspace or Class D airspace or, stuff like that. So. Pierre, hey, you upgraded from the Mavic 2 Pro to the Air 2S. Appreciate my review. Thank you. I appreciate that. Been flying since the Inspire 1 days. Wow. A2S, terrific all-around drone for recreational use. Agreed. I think so. This is probably one of the best hobby prosumer drones out there right now. The Mavic 2 Pro is technically maybe in the pro-ish market. Sort of. I mean, not really, but sort of. It's on the lower end or the higher end of the prosumer market, I guess I could say. But I will say that when shooting for the show that I was shooting for in Oklahoma, we shot. What was it? 10 gigabytes of 50 gigabytes of footage was shot with this because tight quarters and where we were. So it was just easier to film with that than in Inspire 2 or other drones we had. So, hey, Kirchhoff. Peter, thank you. Thank you. That's what I like. Every time I check, it just says nothing yet. So I hadn't seen an update on when DJI was releasing the SDK. And then as soon as DJI releases the SDK, that's when Lychee can get into programming and setting up some basic active track with this, which I am really excited to try out because, yeah, I really want to try it out. And let's see. So if I missed your question, please ask it again down in the chat because I know I think I missed a bunch of questions. Zach Drums, is it worth getting over the Air 2? Did I answer your question, Zach? Hopefully I did. Dan Beck, heard a lot of people saying you don't need to pay for the Part 107 study material because there's so many online for free. Do you still recommend paying for Remote Pilot 101 or similar? Dan, I mean, that's up to you. I did. Just because Remote Pilot 101 does a really good job of keeping their course material up to date, and a lot of the free material out there, like, yeah, you can find it all, but it takes a fair amount of time and a little bit of effort. And so I just went the route of, like, I don't have a ton of extra time. So I went the route of Remote Pilot 101 to just kind of condense it all into one place, and they keep it up to date, which is nice. Like the recurrent, I'm not kidding, their recurrent test, their recurrent information and their recurrent practice test was eerily spot on to my recurrent test that I took on the FAA site today. It was incredible how accurate he was on the information that was in there. It was really interesting. So, yeah. And if you, Dan Beck, if you want a discount code, Ken Herron is I would say he's a friend of mine. He's a fellow YouTuber. And use the discount code Herron18. Oops. Use that discount code and it will give you a decent amount off too. So yes, I like it, but yeah, I can't remember if that gives you like 20% off, 30% off, something like that. So Mark H, when the Air 2, the 2S is in 10-bit mode, is it shooting on H.265 or H.264? It only shoots in H.265 for 10-bit, for the 10-bit modes. You can do H.264 in the standard profiles, but I don't remember how much what exact things you can shoot with it and what you can't. But yeah, I've been shooting everything in H.265, even though it's a little harder on the computer to edit. That's what I've been shooting in. Thanks, Peter. Yeah, and that was the thing for me. Like, I wanted to do the low light stuff because I really wanted to see how good this 1-inch sensor was. So I shot that, and then the next day, Keith and I flew out to the glacier. We shot that because I was like, I don't know, I enjoy going out to places like that, exploring, and also like showing all of you something that you don't see in every other drone video. And then the day after that, we hiked 4 miles. Well, we snowshoed 4 miles out to the Whittier place, which is all the ocean, all of that footage, and then snowshoed 4 miles back. Well, no, actually, we didn't snowshoe 4 miles back because we were really tired, and the tide was out, and we didn't feel like snowshoeing because we were really tired. And so we walked. We picked our way along the cliff faces of the shoreline to get back. I should have filmed that because there was some spots that were really sketchy. But it was easier than snowshoeing, so that's what we did. Matt at a war, any news on recurrent test versus recurrent training? So now you take the recurrent test and the recurrent training on the safetyfaa.gov website. I think that's the website, and it's all there. That's how it works now for recurrent stuff. So that's what I did today. Passed with flying colors, which was really fun. Aerial Effects, Mavic 3 Pro. A lot of people just said they were getting Air 2S. Forget the Mavic 3 Pro, but I'm so excited. Aerial Effects, okay, thank you for bringing that up. I appreciate that. It was something I was going to bring up, and I forgot because that's what I tend to do on live streams. Here's the thing that makes me excited. They put a 1-inch sensor in this little tiny drone with some really pretty decent obstacle avoidance. Not amazing, but decent. Good flight time. Really super stable control. Super controllable, stable drone. It responds really well to controls and stuff. I can't wait to see what they put in the Mavic 3 or whatever that drone is going to be. Because if they can put 5.4K 10-bit color in this, that drone is obviously to command a price tag that's going to be double this, probably $2,000 is my guess. That drone is going to have some really, really great features. Here's what I hope for. Obviously, like 5 to 6K video would be nice. I don't really care about it, but it does make a nice image. 10-bit for sure. A variable mechanical aperture would be fantastic. A like 2 to 5x optical zoom would be really sweet if it was all part of the same thing. That would be really cool. But optical zoom, like it'd have to be optical zoom. Obviously 360 optical avoidance and like a 35 to 40 minute flight time would be fantastic. So that's what I'm hoping for. Steve Krantz, no, he's not. I mean, I don't know that if he gets something for that, then good for him. I just, I don't get anything from it. I do like Remote Pilot 101. They've been really good for me. And Mark H and other people have said that too. So let's see. Love Alaska scenery, by the way. Would love to take a trip there just for nature scene someday. Man, I hope you do, Steve. It is a beautiful place to come. And right now, the restrictions are fairly easy for traveling with all the stuff we're facing in our world. So, Richmond Aerials, thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate it. First super chat of the evening. Let's see. Ever hear of the Moment Drone Series Mavic 2 anamorphic lens? BH has a flash deal on it today. So yes, Richmond, I have. Unfortunately, I can't recommend it because it's cool, but it's just too much for the Mavic 2 Pro gimbal to handle. So it works for a bit, and then the gimbal overloads and drops and shuts down. It's just, and if there's any wind at all, it's too much. So that's my thought on it. Yeah. So, Pierre, do you have any LUTs you recommend for the Air 2S? No, it hasn't been asked, Pierre. I like, honestly, the default DJI LUT that you can get from DJI for the Mavic 2 Pro works pretty well. Not perfect, but it's really close. You have to add some saturation for it to work right. And then, you can tweak your colors and stuff if you want. And then the other one I like is from Ground Control, and I think it was free. It's Ground Control Mavic 2 Pro LUT, and I really like it. That's all I've used so far. I enjoy it. I like it. It gives me a great starting point to then push the colors, whatever, color grade it however I want to. I don't really do much, honestly, other than add some contrast and a little push of saturation a hair. That's really all I do. I'm not a huge color grading person, so. And if any of you are like wondering what I do in my videos for filming, I use the A7S III, which does great already, and then I tweak it a tiny bit in post with some contrast and no saturation, just a little bit of contrast work, and it's good to go. Let's see, picked up a Rokinon 12 lens for. So Jeff, what I hear is good lens. You need to do some deal with the distortion in post, but pretty decent for it. I think it's sharpest, if I remember right. It's been a while since I looked at that lens because I did look at it for a while, but it's sharpest like above f4, around f5.6 to f8 or something like that, if I remember right. But yeah, I mean, that's true with a lot of lenses. Like they get sharper after you stop down a couple stops, and then they're better. Eddie, you're waiting for the Mavic Pro 3 or the Pro 3 or whatever it's going to be. Yeah, I'm really excited to see what the Pro 3 brings. I'm tempted to sell my Mavic 2 Pro, but it's been well used. It's crashed once or twice. Everything still flies. Everything still works great. But, and then two, I know if I sell it, then I'm going to have to find a Mavic 2 to take and compare with the 3 when it comes out, so I'm probably just going to hold on to it. It's still a good drone, still runs great, still works great, so. Arson, A7 III or A6400. If you're just starting out, Yellow, I have no idea how to say your name, A6400 with a kit lens. Great startup camera, great way to go. Yeah, Mark, that is the biggest thing about the Mavic 2 Pro. And the thing is, like I could have used it on this because I needed an ND64, but I didn't have one. I was using the ND32. It's just too bright for it. Anyway, So the shutter was high. That's people have asked that. Yeah, the shutter was a little high because I could only stop it down so much, which that's an issue. Where the Mavic 2 Pro, I could have stopped down with the aperture and put an ND32 on there and been fine. Yeah, so just imagine a drone that would shoot 64 megapixels plus. Dear Lord, why do we even need that many megapixels? Bob, mechanical shutter? Yes, I sure hope so. And I mean, I don't know. I don't think it would happen, but a global shutter would be amazing if they could put that on there. So, Richmond, you're welcome. Best $5 you ever spent, right? Was that $5? Yeah. Best $4.99 you ever spent. You just saved $80. Yeah. It's hard because I love anamorphic. Like I really like anamorphic. I have all 3 of the Sirui anamorphic lenses. I want to work with some other anamorphic lenses as soon as I get the chance. The problem with that is, like, I have the anamorphic lenses for my phone from Moment, and I like Moment lenses. The problem is that one, it looks cool, it does some cool stuff, but it only works in very specific situations. And especially like when it first came out, it was like $300 or $200. It was just too much. And then if you flew it in wind, the Mavic 2 Pro gimbal is already pushing anyway in wind, but then with that lens on there, couldn't handle it at all. And then even just flying around normally without wind, like it would wear out the gimbal motors because it was just a little too big and too heavy. And you can't put it on until after you start the drone up, and then you have to carefully strap it on the gimbal. And it just, it's just too much work, too much of a pain to work with. So, yeah. That's true, Logan. You get better battery life with the A7S3 or the A7 III and dual SD card slot. Yep. And you do get better low light performance. True. Hugo, have I used any 360 cameras on a drone? I have. I put the Insta361, the original, on my Mavic 2 Pro and flew it through a glacier valley. It's somewhere. I think I did the 360 video on it. And yeah, it's cool. It's different. There's a little, like, for the Mavic 2 Pro, PGY Tech makes a clip that like clips on the top and you just screw the camera directly on it. That's what I would do. The ones that hang down like this, they almost always throw off the center of gravity of the drone, and the drone will shake a little bit. And they're hard to take off that way because obviously you have a camera hanging down, so you have to hand launch and hand catch, and so it's just Yeah. Thanks, Mark. I appreciate that, Mark Alaru. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Rishon, if you're coming from the original Mavic Pro, this will be a massive step up for you in video quality and photo quality. Huge. And flight quality, actually, in every quality. It'll be a huge step up. So if you're ready to upgrade, then yes. I don't know when the Mavic 3 or whatever that is coming out. It's probably later. I'm guessing fall this year, sometime in the fall, September maybe. But yeah, it's great. Peter, the Air 2S Sunset is also epic. 10-bit is worth it. Oh man, Peter. So Peter, I took that footage and I for the heck of it, I was like, I want to see how much can this 10-bit footage handle before it starts to fall apart. I boosted the saturation 170%. 170%. So almost 200% saturation boost after putting on a corrective LUT. And it's still, I mean, it looked unreal, of course, because it's 200%. But there still was no banding really to speak of. And I mean, it definitely started falling apart at 170%, but I was like, 170%? That's insane. So yes, the 10-bit is fantastic. Mark, which takes a better photo, the Mavic 2 Pro or the Air 2S? Oh wait, it's just Ash. They're pretty much the same. It's really hard to say. They're very, very close to the same. So yeah. It's just if you need that mechanical aperture. It doesn't make a difference on like the focal plane, like you think of aperture in a regular camera, because it's a drone. You're kind of far away from stuff anyway. But it does make a difference in lighting if the lighting is changing, and that's where the Mavic 2 Pro still holds an edge over this. You'll see in the video tomorrow. that, you know, if clouds are moving in and out and you've got bright sunlight and then shade and then bright sunlight and then shade and you're trying to keep it, you know, exposed properly, the variable aperture comes in indispensable in a situation like that. Logan, you still shoot with the DJI Spark? That's awesome. Mini 2. The Mini 2 is great. It's right here. I still like the Mini 2. It does not, and be careful, Mark, don't spam the chat, but it does not have a follow me mode yet. Now, in theory, a third-party app called Lychee might add that in a few weeks, but they have not yet, so there's no follow me mode on the Mini 2. Dan Beck, thanks for the info, fellow Alaskans. Awesome. Thanks, Dan. Beck, I wonder if I know roughly who you are through Instagram or something. Anyway, let's see. Relatively beginner videos help you finally get going. Awesome. Glad to hear it, man. Yeah, fly a bunch. It's awesome. No worries, Mark, but just like it takes me a minute to catch up. I will get to your comment but just because I don't get to it right away, like don't say it 14 times. And you didn't do that. I'm just, you know, giving you a heads up. So, is the Air 2 worth it over the regular Air 2? Mason? So I'm going to get an Air 2 and go out and compare them directly, like apples to apples. And so you'll have to see that video when it comes out, which might be Friday. But I don't know. It's hard to say. Like, if you already have the Air 2, I don't think it's quite worth it to upgrade unless you need the better image quality, 10-bit color, the better photos, stuff like that. If you already have the Air 2, I would just stick with the Air 2. But if you need the better image quality, this definitely has better image quality. There's no contest there. So, hey, from Springfield, Missouri. Nice. I used to live in Camdenton, so nice. Been a long time since I lived there, but I did live there for a while. Still rocking the DJI Spark, adding color correction to your edits, going to invest in Air 2S. Nice, Logan. You'll be super excited. The Spark is still a cool drone, but you'll be super happy with the Air 2S. It's a great upgrade. Mason, so it said, they say 12 and a half stops the dynamic range on this. And I don't know what the Air 2 dynamic range was. I know it wasn't that, not 12 and a half stops, but yeah. So, David, do I ever do any photography on boats in Alaska? Yes, David, I do. Last year, I got to go out and film a fishing trip for a group of people that we went about 90 miles off the shore and fished for a day, and it was a blast. Tons of video, tons of photos. I posted some of them in... a few of them ended up in my Tamron 28-200 lens review because I was using that lens a lot then to test it, and that was, it was great. So, you have to run outside and catch a sunset? Awesome, Hugo. Go for it. Sunsets don't wait, man. You better go out there and catch it. But yeah, I'm just about to wrap it up anyway, so you're not going to miss much. Yeah, Mason, it's impressive. It definitely is impressive. It does a good job. Does the Mini 2 photos turn into 4K resolution when you download the photos to the SD card? The photo resolution on the Mini 2 is 12 megapixels. 4K image or 4K video is about 8 megapixels. So the photos are a little higher quality than 4K. It's just Ash Air 2. Photos are very grainy, even low ISO, and 8-bit color profile limits your editing. Yeah, and I've heard people say the same about this. I don't know why I get cleaner stuff than a lot of people. I'm trying to put together a video about it, but I'm trying to figure out why other people aren't getting as clean an image as I do. But the Air 2 image can be a bit grainy. It's partly because the pixel size is really small. To do that 48 megapixel, it's not 48 megapixels, it's the quad Bayer sensor, 12 megapixel quad Bayer sensor. And so the 48 megapixel photo mode is basically, instead of each pixel or each set of 4 pixels counting as 1 pixel, they divide it up and then combine it in the software. So it's just, you know, I mean, it's a thing. There's a little more detail in it, but it's not great. So, but just ask. So you would see a difference in this. You would find a difference in this. And by the way, when I put together the review or the test, the comparison between this and the Air 2, and I'm trying to do it with the Mavic 2 Pro, although I haven't been able to shoot the imagery exactly the same with the Mavic 2 Pro. I'm going to try and put some download links out there for you so that you can download the footage that I'm showing you in the video, or at least some of it in the photos, and compare them yourself. So I'll do that. I will do that with the Air 2 photos and video when I compare it with this. Oh, awesome, David. That's fantastic. Cool. Anamorphic format, quite difficult. Vertical dimension. Yeah, Peter, that's a good point too. It is true. It's way different to work with, especially because if you're not using something that de-squeezes it, you have to look at your framing and remember that it's going to de-squeeze, and it can kind of throw you for sure. Alan, have I posted links to my non-YouTube professional videos? Some of them I don't, because clients, that's not what they want. Like on Twitter, the times I've worked with Caterpillar, I've posted the stuff that they've worked with, they've come out with on those, just because it's cool. It's been a blast to work with those guys and the crew that I get to work with when I've done those shoots. Yeah, so it just depends. It depends on a lot of things. And honestly, like most of my professional videos, my professional work is very like corporate video stuff. It's, so it's like, I don't know that a lot of people want to see those kind of videos. So Pierre, thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate that. $6 Canadian. Thank you. Thanks for the videos. Keep up the good work. The wonderful Alaskan scenery. I will do that. And that wonderful Alaskan scenery is going to be seen more and more because the weather's getting nicer and nicer. And pretty soon it's going to turn green. And that will be spectacular because I can't wait. Mark H. Sometime will I do a video tips and tricks flying over water. Oh, don't fly too low. Ooh, that's a good one, Mark. Yes, I will put that on my list of videos to make. Because it's true. If you zip along water really low, you have to keep a very close eye on your altitude above the water, because the water plays with the lower sensors, and the drone won't be able to hold its altitude as easily. In fact, where I was filming in Oklahoma, and we were flying in Inspire 2, I was flying in Inspire 2, and another gentleman was camera opping, and they wanted to get really low over some stuff, and so I was going really low. But the Inspire 2 does a lot of this. It drifts around quite a bit. And so it was very like, you just had to keep a really close eye on stuff because we were going really low over water in a lake. And yeah, it was like, Anyway. David, do I have a discount code for Freewell? I do not. I wish I did, but I don't. But yeah, I do like Freewell filters. And I bought probably half of the filters I've got from them. Mark, they don't generally fly up. They generally fly down into the water. So that's why you have to keep a really close eye on stuff. Same thing happens with ice. Like any sort of shiny reflective surface will really mess with the sensors on these. And so you just have to keep a close eye on it. Hey, Michael Blades FPV. Pierre used a green screen. Nice touch. Yes, Brian, that's right. He used a green screen. Pierre, you probably appreciate this. I'm finishing up my build for this guy because I have this camera now that I've got to go out and shoot a bunch of stuff with, which also means I have to buy another hard drive or two to store all the footage from it on. But it's all preparation for a job that's coming up later this year. Hey, Matt PG. David, what is my camera setup for this stream? The quality is amazing. Thank you. My camera setup is the A7S III with a Sony 24 1.4 G Master lens, which I really enjoy and like. And then I'm using a DD S-Mic 2S here and a Mix Pre 3 for the audio. And then the thing that makes any of this stuff work and look great is lighting. So I have a big softbox here with a 100-watt LED light there. I have a little Lume Cube here with just barely, just enough to fill in this side of my face a little bit. Here I have a 36-inch softbox strip box, so it's a really long, narrow, tall box that gives the edge light all along here. And then up behind me is, what is it? It's an Aperture F9, like that big LED thing that does this little edge light, rim light there. And of course, all these little color lights in the background. So thank you, though. Appreciate it. I do get lots of comments about how good the videos look with the A7S III, like out and about when I'm filming out there. People are like, man, it looks great. What in the world? And I gotta be honest, the A7S III just shoots some incredibly good looking video. It really does. And it shoots amazing photos. The photos are fantastic out of that camera. And I don't care what anybody says about 12 megapixels. It's more than enough to take a really good photo. Steve Carpenter, hey, good to see you, man. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for listening in. Okay, David. Awesome. I will work on that, especially as soon as we have some water showing. Everything's still ice, but as soon as we got some more water showing, I'll do it. Sherpa Air 2S or Mavic Air 2. If you haven't purchased either one, I would highly recommend the Air 2S. No, Mark, because it doesn't have any obstacle avoidance sensors. It needs sensors to do that, so they won't add an obstacle avoidance. And that's why they don't have any tracking built into it either, is because of that reason too. Basically, Matt, it's all about lighting. It really is. Where's Tommy Calloway when I need him? The rule of thumb is if you're going to buy a camera, you should spend about the same amount that you spend on your camera on lighting, because lighting is what makes or breaks. Like, you can take a cheaper camera, but if you have good lighting, it will look better. So it is all about lighting. Yes. And part of the reason I look amazing, like during the winter when I'm filming this stuff in the winter, is I get this huge, like the ice. I was out on the glacier. All of that snow reflects all that light. So you get this beautiful, massively diffused light source that's like, you don't get any shadows under a hat, nothing. It's just this beautiful light everywhere, which is going away because it's almost summer. I'm okay with it. But I'm just saying. Let's see. Michael Blades FPV. Would it be worth trying to replace my DJI Osmo Action lens that shattered today when it dropped? Oh, dang. Michael, was it just the lens, like the outer lens that screws on, or was it the lens inside of the part that screws on? Because if it was the part that's inside, I would say no. It's probably better just to buy a new one. And they're like $200 right now, or maybe less. So, yeah. Sorry about that. Matt, when does summer actually start in Alaska? Depends on what your definition of summer is, Matt. We're well into spring. Technically, summer should start sometime in mid to late May. I will make a break video before audio quality. Very true. I tell people that so much. Like, anytime I review an audio piece of gear, I'm like, listen, audio is half of the equation for a video. It is half of it. We are way more auditory than we realize. And if you have bad audio, doesn't matter what it looks like, people won't stick around because they just can't stand listening to a bad audio video. Oh, inside? Dang, Michael. Oh, I'm so sorry, man. I don't know that it'd be worth it to try and get it fixed. You could send it to DJI and see if they would, but you can get a brand new one for $200, and I would probably go more that route personally. But that's up to you. I don't know what DJI would charge for that. That's why people use GoPros on FPV. Well, I've seen some pretty smashed up GoPros too. Yeah, I mean, it's 6 of 1, half dozen in that case. Like, either one of them breaks, it's gonna break. Like, yeah, it just is. So, sorry though. They're never very good. Let's see, Marco KC. What do I suggest the next video camera would be good for upgrade? You're currently using an A6000, Sigma 16 1.4. Thanks a lot for reply. Absolutely, Marco. So here's the deal, Marco. I would recommend the A6400 or A6600 if you could afford it, the A6600, because you've already got a nice lens, a really nice lens for the APS-C system. If you want a more versatile lens, look at the Tamron 17-70. I've got a review for it on my channel. But also, if you can wait, I saw some rumors yesterday that Sony is looking to announce next month a new APS-C size camera. So hold off just a bit and see what that camera has in store. At the very least, it will drop the price of the A6400 or A6600, both of which would be a really nice upgrade from the A6000 for you. Mark, did I get and do any astral? No, I haven't lately because it's just we've lost our darkness. Like we no longer have, Alaska no longer has anything that qualifies as nautical twilight, which is basically where it gets to its night time, according to the definition. So we still have civil twilight, but we have nothing beyond civil twilight as far as the amount of darkness we get now. So I actually was thinking about going out and trying it just because I'm curious to see what it would look like, just for the heck of it, but I haven't yet. So, well, maybe I will. Here, we'll see. But yeah, and I missed all the really good Aurora shows again. I'm really sad about that because I really wanted to shoot the Aurora, so waiting till next year. Maybe I'll get that Sony 16G master lens to go out and try for it when it comes out. Photo shoot mini 2, wish you luck. Good luck, Mark, and have fun. Remember, have fun. DD just got a Rebel T7, 51.8. First DSLR, don't seem any better than your 12 Pro Max camera. You've only had it 3 days. So DD, spend some time learning about aperture, ISO, and shutter speeds, and then look a bunch of that stuff up on YouTube because that will help you get the most out of your camera. That being said, the 12 Pro Max camera is pretty dang good, but you can get more. You can get more out of your Rebel T7 and 50, but you have to learn how to use all of the settings to the most there. So plus you can get other lenses, which is a big deal. Eddie, you smashed a GoPro Hero 9 FPV as courtesy. Nice, Eddie. That's sweet. Oh, thanks, Steve. All right, I'm going to try and get through the rest of these questions. Then we're going to wrap the stream up because I got to go. And you might have to go too. Let's see. Buying a DSLR mainly for videography. Canon, Nikon recommendations. Totally new to cameras. Never had one before. If you're in the... I would recommend the Canon 90D. I think that's... Yeah, the Canon 90D would be a good starting one. You can get it with a kit lens and stuff like that. Good place to start. If you can afford it, get the Canon R6. Is a great camera. But it's going to be more expensive, full frame, and then get RF lens, like a 24-70 with it. For Nikon, if you really want to go Nikon, then get a Nikon Z6 II is a really good camera. But I'm not super familiar with the Nikon lenses, but a 24-70 is a good starting lens, so whatever Nikon has for that. Yeah. Matt, PG, you use your 12 Max for photos and vlogs, multiple cameras, back to a phone. It's so good. It really is, Matt. Like, it really is. And it's easy. That's the thing. It's really easy. You don't have to do much work in post, and it looks good right out. So, I mean, I use my iPhone camera, my iPhone 11 camera, a lot for BTS stuff because it's easy. You're welcome, Marco. Cheers, man. Sherpa, if you're getting your very first drone, and your budget, if you can't stretch for the Air 2S, which I would still push for it if you can. But for the very first drone, I really recommend the Mini 2. Is an excellent first drone, and it's not nearly as expensive. So, but yeah, if you want to get something that's a little more on the pro side, the Air 2S for sure. My vlogs, Walker. So that's interesting. Usually I use the Tamron 17-28, and I usually am between 20 and 24 millimeters. Usually around 20 millimeters when I film those. But the last couple of videos I've released, I've actually been using the 28-75 again, and then filming them between 35 and 50 millimeters because I like the way compressing the background and the foreground together a little bit makes what's behind me, aka the mountains, glaciers, whatever, a little bit larger, because that's the way they look in real life. And so, yeah, I've been switching it up lately. So anywhere between 20 and 50 millimeters. That's super helpful. I know. You're welcome. Oh, you're welcome, David. I appreciate you being here, man. Thank you for being here and tuning in. That being said, I am gonna do. So I might try and shoot it tomorrow as like just a bonus video, but hand catching drones, which would be especially important if you do boating stuff. But how to hand catch one of these drones safely, because I got a lot of questions about that on the Air 2S review video I did. Walker, Mavic 3 having a 4/3 sensor, I doubt it. I think that's a stretch. Like people are like, oh, it's gonna have interchangeable lenses. I don't think so. I think they'll stick with a 1-inch sensor. I think they'll do something else with the camera itself, like put an optical zoom in there, mechanical shutter, obviously mechanical aperture, and maybe they'll go up a little higher megapixel count on the 1-inch sensor or something. But like 24 megapixels, I don't know. I mean, 20 megapixels is great, honestly. You don't need much more than that, really. At least I don't. So. Oh yeah, Steve, the 90D, great camera. Excellent 4K video. Yeah, the 90D is a fantastic, like if you're just starting out and you want to go Canon, the 90D is a great camera to start out with. Good video, really good photos. It's just a good all-around camera. It really is. Glad to hear that, Steve. Glad to hear my recommendations weren't leading someone astray. Walker, what am I on right now? A 24 millimeter 1.4 prime lens, so a G Master lens. Very sharp and really good all-around lens. But it has terrible focus breathing. Look at this. Look at the focus breathing. See how stuff around me moves, like the water bottle and stuff? When I make it focus, it's just terrible. But it's a beautiful lens. It looks so good. And it really does amazing in low light. You're welcome, Sherpa. 6K on the Mavic 3? I think so, Purple. I think so. Walker, we'll see. You're welcome. I think there'll be some improvements. I don't know about the optical zoom. That would be amazing if they could put an optical zoom in there, because you always get way better quality out of an optical zoom, but who knows? I would love it if they did, and definitely a mechanical aperture. I mean, they'll improve some stuff, because they're going to want to bump the price up, and it's going to probably be the drone that will sit between the Air 2S and the Inspire line, because they're not doing anything more with the Phantom line, apparently. Anyway. All right, folks, thanks for being here tonight. Thanks for being part of this channel, part of this live stream. I appreciate it. I love hanging out with you all. I'll be back same time, same place next week. In the meantime, be watching for videos as they come out. There'll be one tomorrow and a few more later this weekend, early next week, something like that. I have an exact release schedule on some of these, but yeah, there's more coming. And I will, be safe, be smart. I'll see you guys again soon in the next video. Cheers, everybody.